My name is Man Sakdalan. I am an EN implementation partner, an EN partner, and I have also worked in the nonprofit scene. And for those who know, I've also used to work with Engagement Networks. So welcome. Today, we are gonna go through some marketing tool tips. So again, just a show of hands. Who is currently using the new marketing tools? 1, 2, 3, 4. Love it. Who is still in the email classic? Good. So we'll do a little kind of like new things that you can do. So for those who are already using it, just sort of like ride along. This is an academy session, so if you want to ask questions along the way, kind of just just ask, because I love giving like little tips and bits, and we can just like go through stuff. And I also have a code giveaway at the end, so just why not? Yep. Have you moved over to EN's marketing tools? Yep. And then, here. So what do I like the most about the new tools? Who is liking the new drag and drop blocks that you could bring in? Yes, right? So for those who haven't used it, what does it mean? It is less HTML, and you can just bring in certain blocks. So like, you could just bring in the logo block, the header block, the text block, the button block, the 2-column block, the signature blocks. It's become kind of like a block style of using the email marketing. It's very much customizable in the global settings. I will show you a few super cool kind of tricks that I've done with some clients, and I'm still like super geeked about it. And on the source code HTML, I was gonna put, oh no HTML, or oh no HTML, so I wasn't sure. I was talking to a couple of clients, and they were like, well, I kind of still want that source code. And I'm like, sometimes I actually do too. But using the tools now, you know what, you kind of get around it. And then I will say, if you really want to geek on it, like you really actually can. So like just go to the template side and then like have at it and then customize away, because it's super fun. More conditional profile features. So who is using conditional profiles in I'm hoping, all their emails? Anyone aware of like what the conditional profiles are? I just want to hear from an audience who's using it or tried it. So basically what it is you build your groups, your lists, and then you can create one campaign, and based on that campaign, you can segment it on your profiles, right? So you could do, I'm gonna do a year-end fundraising that's split into 8 profiles, which is what we normally do with our emails. And you could do top for like the active ones, and then maybe you could segment it based on region, time, donors, major donors, non-donors, profiles, and probably those who are not really opening as much, and then so you could make it maybe a shorter email. So we do this with one of my clients. We do conditional profiles in Email Classic, but we still found out that 6 or 7 was not enough. And so now with marketing tools, we're even able to segment within the profiles, which is super cool. So here's a sample. I don't know if you could see this here. This is actually within the email and not in the actual, because you could do your profiles outside, which is the actual email, but you can also set the profiles within that email box. And so what they're trying to do here is they're segmenting on like time zone. So based on like what time zone you are, you're getting like different, you'll get different copies. Or like if you're based in East Coast or Pacific time, or then of course there's always a fallback. So note, always have a fallback, so that when you're creating your query or groups, whoever it is that wouldn't fall into those profiles will get the fallback email. And then here is when you actually create the different profiles, right? So if you have like 8 profiles that you're setting, you could still do what you were doing in the classic where you have your profiles. But like what I just really like about the new tools is within that specific email, you can still group that into time zones, you know? So you have like your major donors, but then I want it in this time zone. Or I hope you guys get what I'm trying to say. Oh wait, let's go back. What I really like about this too is one of my clients, St. Anthony's Guild, is they have different provinces as a religious charity. And so we're actually not just changing the logo, we're also having different senders. And so how many of you have probably had run into an issue where we want to use different senders based on who the audience is, right? So you could do this with not just the marketing, you could do this with marketing tools, even email classic, but then further segment using the deep profile section that you could do within marketing tools. Questions, nods? I'm getting nods, so that's cool. This is a geeky thing. Who's like super into source codes in all their emails and have like a yes, robust like source coding structure? So, classic, you have to always do that EA.tracking, that ID and, like source code. Well, you can actually put it into the global settings of marketing tools and set that tracking parameter. And then you just have to say it to inherit so that all your links would inherit that tracking parameter. So thank you, Ian. But if you really don't want it to inherit that tracking parameter, you could still call a custom tracking parameter for that. Totally love that feature. So yeah, right there, inherit. So isn't this just so cute? Let me just celebrate this real quick for a second. Okay, so client wanted a three-column newsletter. So you see it right there. But then I was like, okay, so well, how about we also give them the option to change the colors of the buttons? That you could just do it right there, so they don't have to like think. And we'll be like, what are the colors of your brand colors? So let's just throw it all in there. So as you can see, they could write the email, write the copy, put in cute images in the columns, but then they can also change the different, button colors. And like, watch, this is not just the button. This is also the background. Yay. So yeah, super cool, super fun. I know, totally geeked on it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when I say code-free customization, you can have fun creating those templates, but then use variables in your templates so that whoever is sending the email, maybe they don't have a lot of HTML experience, they can really just take the time to write the content, have fun with the images, and like use the right brand colors to send your message. And this is where it happens. This is where the magic happens. So the EN tools allow you to like set variables, and then you can just set the color and settings for that. Add and remove. How many of you have tried this? Isn't it super fun? Here's another example. This is with Children's Aid Foundation. They want to just like, we just want to be able to just change the background, based on like what we feel like using, and then it's also just using all their brand colors. Okay, and next tip, I guess everyone says that. Don't forget to test across all browsers and devices. And that could be cumbersome, fun, challenging, but we do it all the time. I got this question, I think, this was like last Toronto ENCC. Like, can we, or should we not still do wrap text? So, yes, I have clients who still want it. And, there's some workaround in EN, but if you really want the code, happy to collab. Okay, dark mode. Where is Austin? It's gonna be our favorite session next October. Okay, dark mode. 34% of users open emails in dark mode. How many of you open your emails at 9, 10 p.m.? Love it. It's more than 34%. So just tips. You guys already see the what to do or what not to do. So don't forget to just add a stroke or a blur. I'm sure you both are. I'm not sure if you're like, is it blur, is it stroke? I guess whatever works best for when you're doing your testing. And then I've also found some issues with like, have you run into that issue when the logo is too complicated to add a stroke to? Anyone has run into that issue? So like the logo is just really, like can't add a stroke to it. It makes the logo just look really different. So I think the workaround that we found for dark mode is we just actually added a white background. And so that Outlook wouldn't change that. And then we saved that whole background as an image. Yeah. And then one more thing is signatures. I've also run into this, like a JPEG signature, so try to use a PNG signature. And then if it's a signature that's in black, of course, add the stroke, add a stroke. For those that are browser testing, have you guys run into that issue where the button the button color changes? When you're using VML and all of a sudden it's not the right color. So if you have a solution, happy to talk, but I've run into so many of those issues that to the point, I guess we've just like, let's try to maybe use some of your other brand colors because of how Outlook just like, yes, sometimes they'll just automatically assign a different color for dark mode only for specific Outlook. So can't win it all. And then also just check to see if your colors meet the level LA, which is 4.5:1 ratio. So there are tons of contrast checkers there. So just like take advantage of that. Who knows this line? Yes, Jeffrey. Yeah. So basically, I should have actually, this I wanted to be the title of the session, but then I guess I was feeling like no one would show up and they're like, what is FMSO? It's just a tag that if it's Microsoft Outlook, you have to make your, like put this in my email if Microsoft Outlook. I thought it was just funny. Yeah. To VML or not to VML, just have to put it out there. Who's using VML? Who's not using VML? Who's using images as buttons? So I have a few, like I have clients that are using images, there are clients that are using VML, clients that are just using just the button as it is. Just gonna do a quick like definition, I guess. It's a vector markup language. The VML will act like buttons versus only having the text to be clickable. So like if you're in Outlook and you use like a regular button, only the text will be clickable and not like that big square that you created. And that's what happens in Outlook, which is why they recommend to use a VML. So then that's when you create the if. If Outlook, use the VML with this button. However, the issues with those, and I'm pretty sure those probably why you're not using VML, is if you forward it, like if you forward an Outlook email, there are two buttons. I don't know if you've seen that. There's the QR code. That's my free gift. So for those who don't have any VML buttons, take it away. That's what happens. Yeah. Okay. Few other Outlook fun things to know. Background images on divs and tables don't work for Outlook. So you could just come up with maybe like a more creative solution for it. But if you want to layer your divs with a background image and then you put an image on top of it and then you put text on it and maybe you put buttons on it, there's a chance that that background image that you have on Outlook will not display on some browsers. So you could see just what we found out. Yeah. It's fun sometimes, but just, you just have to work with what you have and just know that it's not all Outlook browsers, right? Also, we ran into this issue, not really an issue, but on mobile, if you want that phone number to call, just like how it is here in the screen, what we did is we created like just a separate setting, a separate global setting for it on the template. And then if you do that, that'll actually work. So it's not treating it like a text. So you just have to do that on like your template settings. Happy to talk to you about it too. Yep, time for a mini giveaway. Scan the QR code, you're gonna get that VML button. Okay, towards the end, it's a short sesh. Just gonna show some fun samples. Here we go. And all of them are mostly customizable, like those button colors change, the background colors can change. Yeah. And that's it. Any questions? Thank you so much. Let's sit. Do the Eric and you sitting.
Okay. All right. First question from Mon. This was really great. Thank you. We're trying to get people to move to the marketing tools, so this is super helpful. We often build email in tools external to EN, and then paste it into the email classic HTML area. In the new module, it is not as easy. So we've gotten this feedback quite a bit, but I know you said in the beginning of your presentation that you kind of feel the same way, but also now that you've used the tools a little bit, you're kind of like sold on it. So any other comments there?
Is the issue that those variables are just not, is it because of the use of the variables, or is it that you just got like a pure HTML email and you just like try to paste it into the source code of that template? Is that the issue? Yeah, well, because it's becoming a template, you're gonna have to like create so many templates, because then you can't send it as a template, right? I think get that and then start to create those little frames, because we know that there's similarities in those emails, right? Because you'll probably end up thinking of it more like a website where you have the header, footer, and then you have the different divs that you have to actually move over as the blocks modules. And then it does get easy. It really does. Like, I know there may just be a little bit of like an uplift. And it's nice to work with agencies to get that ready for you, and then it becomes easy. So, but yeah, you know what? I also tried to do the reverse, that I'm like building a thank you email, and I'm like, I grabbed something from the marketing tools and I put it in my thank you email. And I'm like, oh yikes, that didn't work, because that's not pure HTML. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I still have to do both. So
we have had a different partner, not Mon, share a workaround that they came up with, where you build your template as your base that has your header and your footer, and then once you're in the email builder, you create a custom block I think it's just text, and then you put that custom block in and you just paste in your HTML, and apparently it works. So that's something you could do. Of course, when you do that, you're not taking advantage of all of the cool things about marketing tools. You're not taking advantage of those replacements, and that's really what it was built for. So you can do that, but I would say if you want to set yourself up for success in the future with utilizing those tools, to the best of their abilities, you should, really use them as intended.
But then you paste it as text, but you can't go to the source code. You're gonna have to just go to the source code of that block.
I haven't played around with it.
I need to
personally, so
now I'm gonna geek on that.
Yeah, but as Mon said, we have tons of partners who are super, super great to work with. We have a document that's linked to all different packages that our partners have put together. So if you need that, you can ask me. You can ask anyone at Engaging Networks, or talk to Mon. She's amazing. She's already moved lots of clients over to the marketing tool, so she has great experience. Okay, so next question, is there still a plain text version of the email for folks who don't load images? I believe the answer is yes. It's just
Yes.
you don't have to load it yourself. I think it's
Yeah.
automatically done.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw your slide about testing emails in all browsers and phone types. What tools do you use for that?
For this one, I use email on Acid. But you could also, I've seen folks use Litmus. I'd love to hear what other folks were using.
Cool. What are the typical types of email campaigns for which you use conditional content blocks?
Love this question. We actually use it for all. Like this is the one thing that I could recommend all my clients to like just start off with using the conditional profiles. Newsletters, number one. So we just like segment it by engagement score actually. Yeah. And then fundraising appeals, we use it to segment it by what type of donor they are, based on their giving history. I've also done it for renewal emails. So if those who have memberships or like renewals, you could also, I guess, do like a prospect, lapsed, inactive, active. And then I also use it for different, like if they had different sort of like provinces for like clients that have different provinces, I've segmented that way too.
Yeah, all great reasons. Okay. Another question. In which ways, if any, are you using the bulk SMS features of the marketing tools module? Great question.
Great question. I think I have one client that's using Twilio, and we are testing it with one client that we're implementing with right now, but I don't really have a lot of tester experience on it, but
yeah,
I'm in the middle of implementation with another client.
I feel like someone in the community asked this question. So if you're in the Engaging Networks community, you could look through there, because I think there was a discussion about SMS in there. If not, you could always post it.
Yep.
And, that's a great way to connect with other clients and see who's using SMS and collaborate with them. Children's Aid Foundation.
They were here today. I think they've already left. But if you happen to connect with them while they were here, you can reach out to them through the app, or the community would be a great way to connect. Or just let me know, because I'm their account manager and I can connect.
Great, thank you, Sean.
Can I ask an EN question? It's weird, right? Yeah. When would it roll over to the the marketing automation, like the new marketing tools?
The sort of interface of marketing tools.
The interface.
Clint, do you know?
When we do the larger marketing tools overhaul that Dan talked about in his presentation, that change will happen then.
Yes.
Okay.
So once we get through the segments and the things like that, marketing tools looking more for the end of the year, but I would also, give a little leeway there to 2025. But yeah, that's when that changes.
Yeah.
And then
we will let you guys know as soon as possible.
Is it the same for the next suggested gift? Sort of like
I know that's been on the list for a while, and it's in development, and I think it's almost done. I don't know what the holdup is, to be honest. But I've seen a mock-up of it, so I know it's out there and being worked on. But I know that the marketing automation issue of sort of being a very different email builder is a blocker for a lot of people to move to the marketing tool. So we're aware of that and working to get that.
I actually say just do it now, because in marketing automation is like, it could be like a separate project anyway for some folks. But really just get yourself familiarized. You can probably build one in like 10 minutes.
Yep.
Like seriously.
We have out-of-the-box templates.
Yeah.
You can just try it out. And there's really no reason you can't use both Email Classic and marketing tools at the same time. So you're still sending all of your like high-profile, really important emails where you're comfortable out of Email Classic, and then maybe pick a less high-stakes message to test out the marketing tools.
Yeah. Yep. We've completely moved, so
Nice. Yeah, if anyone has questions, Mon will hopefully be at the happy hour, I assume.
Questions?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying.